Morning, buenos dias, everyone. Thank you for watching Nomads Media. I am Carlo from Video Gaga and Nomads Media, and we have an exciting conversation today with Eric. Eric is the CEO and founder of Greenview, the world's leading provider of sustainability programs and data management. Of course, this is for the hospitality and tourism sector. So this interview is relevant and important for hotel professionals and tourism professionals out there, especially to our friends and partners in Southeast Asia and the Philippines, here in Europe, specifically in the UK and Spain, and of course in North America. Of course, Eric Ricarte. Just correct me, Eric, if I pronounce it wrong, your last name. But yeah, Eric founded Greenview, of course, to to join, of course, to support and increase the sustainability efforts, improve the sustainability and green efforts of um, well thousands of hotel businesses, tourism professionals out there. How are you, Eric? Thank you for joining us this afternoon, this morning.
Thank you, Carlo. And Mabuhay. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. Yeah. Well, very excited to talk to you more about sustainability, why it's important right now, especially for hospitality and tourism, these industries, and why it's essential for hotel or hospitality businesses and tourism agencies out there. Um, let's start with the importance of sustainability, and we always see this online and in articles, especially in the travel sector. ESG, environmental, social, and governance. Can you explain what ESG is, and why it has become such an important focus on tourism and hospitality companies today?
Yeah, happy to. Well, ESG, that's a polemic term these days. And ESG as a term has evolved over the last 15 years. But originally, ESG was a more practical application of the term sustainability because people didn't understand sustainability. And when investors started getting interested in these topics, they needed something that was clear, clearly defined, clear metrics and categories. And so ESG, or environmental, social, and governance, was actually originally the investment community for how they would screen, evaluate, and make decisions for investment in businesses and companies or in funds. So that was the original ESG. It then evolved into the more practical term because the way that ESG then flowed was it went from investors, companies, then down to companies, then to wider society. Now, lately, ESG has faced a little bit of a backlash in some parts of the world because it does encompass a wide range of topics, some of which are more polemic. But at the end of the day, why is this general broad topic important? Because there are customers, travelers, guests who are interested in various aspects of sustainability, ESG. There's serious risks to businesses, including physical risks of climate change and water scarcity and all kinds of other things, even shocks to the system, like in your procurement, in your sourcing. And then there's kind of regulatory risks and things you need to address as a business in tourism that are coming down at you from various angles. So that's why it's important, because it's something that you have to address no matter what at some level. And so now is really the time to see how can we adapt, do it well for hotels and
All right. Yeah. So basically, it's evolved as expected to something much bigger than it used to, right? When it started. Now, we have there are a lot of small business owners, and even medium-sized business owners of hotels, as well as tourism professionals, um, who are not yet versed in sustainability. Um, um, in a nutshell, why do you think this is important? Why do we all need to start practicing sustainability? initiatives?
Well, first, costs are going up. And we know that there are things in sustainability that can help reduce cost. Second, there's more of a lens in a hotel or even a tourism standpoint on what's going on in the hotel that's tangible to the guest. Things like straws, things like menus, things like waste, basic things, as well as the guest experience that relates to what am I going to be able to do and experience as a guest that helps maybe biodiversity. So that's why it's an imperative for the hotels, because the same thing is flowing down. So this is something, if you want to get in a tour operator's book, OTAs will
Mm-hmm.
put labels on it. They'll start to rate you. If you have a company, you're part of a company, they're going to have their mandates. The government, and especially the ministries of tourism, will start implementing
Mm-hmm.
and even regulating that you do this. And so it's taking on the same form now down to hotel properties, even at individual property level. And that's what we're seeing is this big trend is they need to address it, because those are basically what it takes to do business these days. Like, you can't ignore this kind of thing anymore. Everybody kind of knows that.
That's right. That's right. And this is also just to me, this is a relevant question. What makes it legitimate? What makes it authentic, or not authentic, genuine? Lack of better term, genuine sustainability initiatives.
Well, I guess genuine or authentic, that's in the eyes of the traveler or the guest, right? Um, I think the most
Okay.
important thing in terms of traveler and guest is sustainability is difficult because the premise is there's a bunch of challenges, global challenges, and we don't really know how to solve them all. But we're trying to do something, we're making advancements, but it's not always possible. We're doing what we can. That means you can't inherently say, we're perfect, we're great, we're the best place you've ever stayed, and we do the most things for sustainability that you've ever seen. So it's a matter of an honest dialogue. So authenticity or being genuine just means transparently saying, this is what we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
do, and not being overly boastful, right? Just because you've got a program to help reduce the amount of water and chemicals and energy from reusing bed linens or towels doesn't mean that if the guest does that, they're going to save the entire planet. That just means that you have an initiative in
Yes.
place that will help reduce the impact a little bit, right? So that kind of thing is how you make it authentic, is not trying to make it a facade or boast or preach to the guest, from that standpoint. And so it's not inherent for hotels and hospitality. You always want to put you want to put your best foot forward. You want to sweep things in the back of house when you need to, but that's kind of the way you look at authenticity for hotels.
Well said. And let's start with hotels. Let's continue with hotels. How can hotels integrate sustainability or ESG practices into their core operations more effectively?
Yeah. Well, at the hotel property level,
Yeah.
the first thing is to make sure that this is embedded more, I'm going to say, systemically across the hotel teams. The typical thing is, okay, sustainability, it's energy, it's carbon. So the facility manager, the DOE, that's the person who's, okay, you go deal with this. And they get this big list of like 100 things. But most of those things, the engineer, the facility manager doesn't have control over. Like what the housekeepers do, what the restaurant does, that's not on them. And so it's more embedded across the hotel and its operations and teams, and then supported by the. Hello? All right. What about now? You can hear me? Okay. Now I just need to be able to hear you. Let's see. Audio output. Let's try this one. How about now? Nope. This one. How about now? All right. Let's try this one. How about now? No luck. Um, 1 second. My audio is not working. Sorry, man. My audio is not working.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear. Now we're good. Now we're good.
Okay, good. We
Okay, I
are
don't know what
back.
happened. We're back. Okay. Hopefully you can like edit that out. You can just you can cut it.
Yeah. Well, we're live now, but yeah, the final version, once we send it out to everyone, we'll just edit out that part. But
Okay.
for everyone who's watching live, thank you for waiting, and thank you for continuously watching. So yeah, let's continue with tourism, tourism professionals, tourism departments. And this, of course, is very much related to governments, right? Now, how can they effectively uh, include or integrate sustainability practices?
Yeah. So when it comes to wider tourism and government, um, there's so many topics. Importantly, is that you look at holistically for the destination and what tourism is and what it does. And so that's where there's something called the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, the GSTC, that's UN-backed organization that started years ago to standardize the framework and the criteria for what is sound sustainable tourism. And that's adopted by governments all over the world, adopted by hotels, tourism operators. And most important is it isn't just about the more prescriptive, reduce energy, change your light bulbs. It's ensuring that the business, the tour operator, the tourism professional, the destination addresses local heritage, culture heritage, local economic benefit, protecting local nature, and addressing the impacts at a destination. So that's the best way to go, and that's the starting point. Now, from a destination standpoint, this is where it's interesting because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the same drivers that hotels have, destinations have, which is they're competing for market share, they're competing for travel, and so they want to tell the best story about what their destination is doing. But more importantly, is that if they tell any story or have any concept related to sustainability, they want a consistent experience across the destination. And so the idea and the approach, where possible, is that the destination managers would try to implement a set of criteria, GSTC, for example, consistently across the tourism stock, across the hotels, or at least build more
Mm.
awareness around it. So that's what you can get everybody on board to rally towards. And that's the best practice for a destination looking at it, because there it's a set of criteria, other destinations you can collaborate with, and that's where you can synergize.
All right. Yeah. So basically, um, uh, bigger reach, bigger effort when it comes to tourism departments, because of course they have influence or even control of specific of their areas of responsibility or jurisdiction. Now, what are the biggest challenges this time? Sustainability challenges faced by hotels and even, of course, tourism departments. And how do you think can they overcome them to improve their performance or their sustainability performances?
Yeah, I think the first challenge is there's a lot of pressure coming from all over. Whether it's the travel buyers, the guests, investors, regulators, just buzz in general. There's a lot of pressure coming, and it's a lot of things at once, so it can be overwhelming. But a lot of times, a lot of hotels are just getting started, or they get overwhelmed because you want to get into it and you realize there's hundreds of things you could do or should do at the hotel. And so take it slow, take it step by step, and think about it as a process, right? That's the biggest challenge is trying to see how you can address it all at once, or focusing on the criteria. The best way to overcome is just to think about it as a process. What can I do now? What can I do this year? What can I put in place to constantly look at this? So that's what I recommend, the challenge. But then in hotels, we do have a bigger challenge. A lot of times the company that operates the hotel doesn't own the hotel. And so a lot of the things that need to be done at the property require the owner of the hotel to invest. And the owner sometimes doesn't want to invest for various reasons, not necessarily their fault. So ensuring that the need and the awareness is built in the beginning from the hotel deal, as well, focusing first on what can be done on an operational level, generate savings, generate buzz, generate impact, and then use that to make the case for things that require a little more investment, but will have returns. So that's kind of the other big challenge in the hotel industry, especially in Asia, that we see that needs to be overcome.
All right. Yeah. Um, One of the things I got from what you said is communications, right? Communication is key. The right messaging and the right partners and channels or distribution, right, of your messages, key messages, and of course, information you need to distribute. Now, let's talk about reducing carbon footprints and other environmental impacts. Excuse me. um, from your experience with your excuse me, your partners, your clients, hotels, and tourism departments, what specific steps can they take to improve their environmental impact, to reduce the carbon footprint of hotels, for example, or tourism departments or destinations in general, right?
Yep. So I think, well, for a hotel, it's pretty straightforward. For number one, reduce your energy, right? But number two is seek to install or purchase renewable electricity. That is such an important component because a lot of times you can't install 100% renewables, but one of the key tenets of sustainability and decarbonization is that the electric power grids need to go all electric excuse me, the energy needs to be more electric, and the power grids need to be almost all renewable. Decades from now, we need to make that transition. So the more that you can help build the market mechanism to help strengthen and make renewable energy be added to the grid, that's a transversal one that will help the destination and the hotel. It helps all the metrics and everything. So focus on how you can do that where relevant,
Mhm.
and where it's possible. The third then is just, okay, that's energy, that's the energy cost. But then what can you do to reduce carbon? You look at food and beverage. That's the area that's closest to heart for the guest and for the planet, because, for example, less animal protein, less meat, that lowers the carbon footprint drastically in a lot of cases. More vegetarian, vegan menus, that kind of thing. But as
Okay.
well, sourcing locally can have a big impact.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of means of production, sometimes it's not as efficient to produce one piece of lettuce versus a farm of lettuce. But considering the all impact, well, for example, you don't have to ship that from an island somewhere else to your island, or you don't have to go and procure from far off. The transport emissions, all the other emissions to it, local sourcing can help reduce the carbon footprint a lot of times. But also,
Mhm.
that's what's going to help strengthen the destination. Especially for tourism destinations, if you want to get benefit from tourism, you want to give experience. People love the idea of local gastronomy, local food, locally sourced,
Yeah.
farm to table, all that. They love that, especially when the food's good. But they like it
Yeah.
because that can, because that can actually lower the carbon footprint and generate more economic benefit for the local community or the country. So those are the things I suggest. Focus on those to start, and then from there, if you got your system in place, a lot of other things will unfold.
So can you say that trending practices right now, or activities right now, like slow, um, I would say slow traveling, and and cuisine, is also part of it. The movement of slow traveling, for example.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to say because as a small business owner in sustainability in a growing field, nothing is slow. There's no slowness about what we do. Sustainability is so fast paced, it's so evolving, there's so much to deal with. So I don't know about slow or slow travel myself, but yeah, the idea that I want to relax, I want to I want to really focus on quality. We know that's a growing trend, right? In general, or so I hear. Maybe one day I'll get there if this video, helps us go viral, then maybe I'll get there and can live a slow life and travel slow, right?
Right, yeah. But at least when it comes to food, a lot of the slow, I would say slow eating, or slow cooking, very much relates to local markets, local produce, and of course the vegetarian or vegan movement as well, or diet. Great. Well, let's talk about
Yeah.
Greenview. Of course, Greenview is, well, congratulations on your continuous growth. One of the world's leading provider of sustainability programs, and of course, data management for hospitality and tourism. How did you start Greenview? And tell us a bit more about your vision, why you started this company. All right, so let's wait again. We lost Eric, but yeah, let's wait for him to come back.
Oh, hear me?
No
Let me
problem.
see. Camera's not working. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, we're gonna try one more time. In the meantime, I can speak on video.
Okay.
Sorry, audio
Yes, go
video.
ahead.
Reconnect. Um, yeah. So Greenview. I started Greenview in 2008. We're family business. My wife is my business partner. We're
Okay.
hoteliers. So we actually come from the hotel industry. I had more of an ecotourism background, nature lodges, that kind of thing. And my partner had a more of a corporate background with some of the bigger hotel chains. But the idea of sustainability that was in my head from years ago when I
Okay.
was at a ecotourism project in Belize on an academic trip, and I saw the idea of carbon sequestration. That a ecotourism lodge had a bunch of trees around them. Somebody was paying them protected. I thought it was a great strategy, and the idea that tree had value for being a tree. That was really cool. And then from there came this obsession with carbon calculation for travel, how it was interrelated, and that's been almost
Mhm.
30 years. But sustainability, anyway, so we started it in this time when it became more formalized, it started becoming more corporate, or started becoming just more sophisticated, and started doing a lot of sustainability reporting for hotel companies. And then that evolved into programs, data, software, industry collaboration, and a lot of things. So that's where we came from. But in terms of like how do we work and what's our strategy, first
Mhm.
off, we're hoteliers. We find is a lot
Okay.
of times people in the sustainability field don't come from hotels or tourism. They may come from a different field. And so really understanding how things work in practice at a hotel. Like I used to clean 14 guest rooms a day in Orlando, right? So I understand how hotels operate, and we have that mindset of hoteliers. So that's where we're starting point is let's make this and interpret this world of sustainability and ESG to hotel audiences directly and primarily. So from that comes the ability that we can kind of scale because we can offer services now to over 100 hotel companies, and we can help synergize across them. And as well, we can help tap into that hotelier mindset, which is I want to improve based on what's my competitor doing, what's my neighbor doing. So that's one of the things we do. But then how we work in this is our focus. We also realize that there's a lot of sustainability work that's done at the hotel property first, auditing things. but we positioned ourselves as a company that is for the hotel company first. So it's company down. We can help the hotel company on its strategy, how it does its governance, its reporting, that kind of stuff. And then when it needs to roll out a program across its portfolio, we offer the tools and support to do that. We have a software, we have guidance, we have implementation, we have a lot of other services and tools. So the idea is that we can make it easy for a hotel company all the way down to a hotel property. So the hotel property gets the resources, they get the benefit, but then that can roll up to the property. So that's how we do it. And then we also, again, we work with owners as well as operators. So we work on the behalf of the owner of the hotel, the operator of the hotel, franchisee, franchisor. And then we find opportunities for collaboration, because a lot of times you do need to define sustainability, or how do we do this? So we get a group of hotel companies together and say, let's figure it out. How do we do this? How do we measure carbon? How do we pursue net zero? How do we measure plastic? So we play a lead role in that, and we've been able to since we've been one of the oldest in the game.
Now, what are some of the strategies you've provided to help these businesses navigate, of course, the complex sustainability landscape?
Yeah, so I think the first is to boil it down in simple, practical terms. So, okay, you've got these frameworks, these topics. Let's make it real and say, look, here is what we're talking about, and here's why. Why do people care about human rights? Why do people care about carbon? Why do they care about local procurement? Why do they care about plastic? And make it relevant, even when it's realistically something that might just be a box tick, right? So make it relevant, and then say, look, here is how you can implement this. But we do have that same ethos where we need to embed it in the company. So we need to get people and help get buy-in across different departments and different things. And so that's kind of the strategy that comes. But the other strategy really is benchmarking. Everybody loves the word, but benchmarking is key.
Definitely benchmark. Speaking of benchmarking, when it comes to success, of course you measure them, right? The performance. How do you assess the sustainability performance, and how do you set realistic goals for them, for these hotels and tourism departments?
Yeah. Well, we have an advantage that we actually manage the hotel industry's largest benchmarking platform for carbon, energy, water, and waste. We do it in partnership with Cornell University. It's called the CHSB Index. It's on the website, where for very low cost, hotels can actually uniformly measure and then benchmark and see how they compare against their peers. That are, again, it's benchmarking specific to hotels, can be market level, can be global, however it is. And so from there, that's a good way. But one thing is, okay, here is the benchmark performance that I received because I've now benchmarked my hotel among 30,000 other hotels. Then comes, okay, well, what do you do about it? And so we actually benchmark best practices. We have another initiative called the Green Lodging Trends Report, which is more qualitative, where you can benchmark the things that you're doing at property and then benchmark against your peers and at a portfolio level. For example, have you phased out single-use plastic? Do you have a certification? Do you have a linen towel reuse program? So the industry resources that we have are really what help to give them the benchmark assessment of kind of what they're doing. So that's the way we do it. And then from there comes, okay, let's benchmark competitively among what your peers are doing at a company level, and help you see what can you do now, what should you do, and where can you potentially become a differentiator or leader. So that's the way we help them set their strategy and goals. But again, goals are not new, and a lot of times the goals are fairly common. And so we help orient on, look, here are the goals you need to set. You need to set a carbon reduction target. Here are the ways to do it. Here's the levels of ambition. Let's choose it, and then let's show how we can actually go about those. So that's kind of the way we help them assess their performance and set goals. But also, the difference with us is we actually, like you can see here, we have a lot of services, software tools. We don't want to just help you set goals or targets or a framework. We want to help you implement it. And so we have our software, we have our support services to help then roll things out across the portfolio and work with you. I mean, we work with hotel companies for decade plus. We work with some hotel companies, helping them along the journey in various things. So the portal that you're seeing here, this is where we actually took all of our collective knowledge over the past 17 years to work with the biggest hotel chains in the world, work with owners, operators across the world, and we started putting the practical tools and guidance and even just modules in the portal so that we can offer
Okay.
this to any property in the world. Doesn't matter if you don't have to be a branded property. You can be independent. We've got plenty of independence. We've got uh, safari tent camp lodges, small hotels, so that we can basically give you the same resources that a decade ago were only available to big hotel chains. So that's the benefit we give down to the individual properties, and then we can help things scale as well as needed.
All right. Sounds really good. Now, can you share examples of hotels or tourism agencies that successfully improve their sustainability practices with your guidance, or some of the projects you worked on as well?
Yep. Well, on the hotel side, um, just a couple examples. So again, we have been available to help hotels and hotel companies, tourism, help them solve the problems that arise to them. And so, for example, back in 2009, Marriott had a request from one of their investors that they need to produce a sustainability report about their environmental, social, governance information. And so they needed help just doing that, and that they actually hired Greenview. So Greenview, we did Marriott International's first sustainability report back in 2009. And what that was at the time, not just Marriott, but a lot of hotel companies and companies in general, was you had to suddenly gather a lot of information around various parts of the company, sit them down in a room, and explain sustainability to them. People from human resources, engineering, procurement, legal, governance. And so that was, again, it was where we were able to be part of a movement to help build
Hmm.
sustainability awareness within hotel companies. So that was older. Then another example, Manor Ansel. So Manor Ansel had a good, robust program. We started working with them about 2014. And then in 2017, they said, we really like to take our program to the next level. Our properties have been asking us for more resources, more tools. So the new CEO came on and he brought Greenview on to really help develop the full strategy, the framework, and then roll it out. And so we work with them on various things. But the CEO became very passionate and then said, I want to become the first luxury hotel chain to reduce or eliminate single-use plastic. So he set an ambitious goal. And then we work with Mandarin Rental on the guidance, the method, the implementation, the tracking, and tracked over a period of 18 months to try to work to get single-use plastic of the most common items representing more than 95% of the plastic usage in the hotels taken out. And so that was a big success for MO, and we are lucky to be able to help them with that. A couple of things we've done, a couple owner companies in the US, where we gave them support for guidance implementation, even on-site work on the low-hanging fruit, and just finding them make some operational tweaks. One hotel was able to save 30% of its energy, another even up to 50, because of simple operational tweaks. And those kind of resources and guidance we put into the portal that others could take advantage of. Two more then. Pan Pacific Hotel Group, based here in Singapore. They had a mandate to get GSTC certified, and they wanted to do it for all the hotels in Singapore. So again, that's a big task to go one by one for each hotel and do it consistently. So they work with Greenview. We helped them set up some of the program, used our software, and rolled it out. And they were then able to certify all the 7 hotels in Singapore in a multi-site sort of convoy to where they all had similar rollout and really expedited and synergized. And then those are the bigger stories, but there's all little tidbits here and there. We do a lot of work to help collaborate and convene. And the final I want to say is just in the Philippines, for example, there's a really innovative hotelier named Hanky Lee. He started a hotel called Henry Hotel. I think he's got a lot more
Yeah.
now. Really
Hmm.
innovative guy. So he had his first hotel. He was building a second. We had a roundtable of hotel owners that we put together in Southeast Asia. And we said, look, the most important thing you can do when you're building a hotel, just go consider sustainability. Ask your architect, ask your designer, ask your MEP, ask everybody who's involved in the hotel just to think about what they can do for sustainability. And Hanky said, you know what, that's right. I never thought of that before. So he started putting it in, and he was able to find a lot of opportunities just for asking those questions and embedding in his process. So again, there's simple things you can do, and that's what we're happy to help and make it practical.
All right. Wow. Sounds it's a very important job, definitely, and crucial in this. Is very crucial in this day and age where our current scenario where we're living at. right now on this planet. But yeah, finally, uh, what's your advice to small business owners, small and medium-sized hotel owners who haven't started yet or are thinking of improving their sustainability and green efforts in their business, and tourism professionals who haven't really focused so much on sustainability for their destinations?
Yeah. So I'd say first for tourism professionals, go look at the GSTC, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, and GST criteria. Get involved in that community. There's a lot of destination level members and things that they convene, and that's a good resource. And then for hotels, again, like I said from the earlier part, just take it slow, involve people, get the team motivated. There's me, there's my partner. But most importantly, like if you want to just start small and you're a small hotel, that's where we have our Greenview portal software. We have an off-the-shelf software that's giving you everything that is not only a software, but also backed by the leading sustainability consultancy where we put everything in there for you. So that's a great resource for you to save money and help implement sustainability at a very low cost because there's a lot of plug and play stuff, a lot of resources, and you can work toward it. You can engage a team. They'll find very interesting things in there, and you'll get them motivated. So my number one recommendation, of course, for a smaller hotel, medium-sized hotel company, go to greenview.sg and look at the Greenview portal and get in touch, and we're happy to give you a trial.
Well said. Thank you so much, Eric, for your time and for giving insights into the sustainability efforts. And I'd like to say sustainability emergency in our tourism and hospitality sectors all over the world. And yeah, thank you for your time. And again, everyone who's watching this, well, we are interviewing, or we've just interviewed the CEO and founder of Greenview, Eric Ricarte. Eric, thank you for your time. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you and knowing more about your future projects and endeavors at Greenview. All the best.
Great. Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone, and
everyone.
have a nice day.